Thanks for staying with us here on TVC Breakfast. It's not time for us to look at what the papers are reporting. The Nation newspaper is the first. Alleged terror financing. DSS arrest ex-AGF Malami. Ex-minister collaborator remains abroad. And Nigerian Tribune. DSS arrest Malami after release from Kuje prison. And then the Nigerian News Direct. 4 trillion naira debt. Indigenous contractors lay siege to finance ministry. Threaten total economic shutdown. The Guardian newspaper. 1 year after, 50% telco tariff hike leaves operators happier, consumers frustrated. And Leadership newspaper speaks to politics of things. Governor Yusuf visits Tinubu, may join APC on Tuesday or Wednesday. This Nigeria, disputes over alleged abduction of 163 in Kaduna churches. Police council insists no attack occurred. Demand victims list. And CAN maintains claim. Blueprint newspaper, police fault claim as CAN insists over 163 abducted during church service in Kaduna. No abduction in communities, this according to Kaduna State government and the local government chair. The Punch newspaper, Amnesty deal. Outrage mounts as Katsina moves to release 70 bandits. Tinubu told to stop release of bandits on trial. ACF, Afenifere, others slam Katsina government over amnesty deal. The Daily Times, appeal court deploys 40 justices to Lagos to clear 360 outstanding cases. Interesting. And the Hope newspaper, Lagos Appellate Court hears 360 cases at special sitting. 16 panels involving 40 justices constituted. Target speedy justice delivery. Marks 50th anniversary with justice delivery drive. Platform Times. Child death crisis. 800 newborns die daily in Nigeria. PAN declares emergency. Pediatricians urge funding boost. Preventable diseases driving deaths. Vaccines, malnutrition, worsen crisis. The Sporting Life is the last. Napoli ambush Lukman. Conte, Laurentiis to discuss Nigerians' move this week. Let's get down to brass tacks by discussing those with my colleagues Olamide, Ria, and indeed our in-house analyst, Abiodun Shomi. Good to see you once again, guys. So let me start off with you, Olamide. Alleged terror financing. DSS has actually made another arrest of the former AGF Malami. Same thing with the Nigerian Tribune. He's been arrested after his release from Kuje prison. That he has a whole lot of questions to answer. That's including that of Abacha loot, which were repatriated from where it was kept, and then they said that he was also involved in sending money to those who are allegedly funding terrorism.
Yes, allegations of terrorism financiering are not minute allegations that we can overlook, especially when we consider the current climate of insecurity in the country. We have to take it very seriously. But I've been following this Malami case very closely, and what's fascinating to me is that Malami is a very interesting figure because he once sat, as the former Attorney General, he once sat at the very top, at the very apex of Nigeria's justice system. So how we treat his case will tell us if Nigeria has the gall to investigate and to try terrorism financiers, you know, without any political bias and still follow due process. So his case could set very, very, very interesting precedents. And we have to remember when we talk about terrorism financing, they're not just local implications for this. It's not just ammunition and bloodshed and all the bad things you can think about when you think about terrorism. We're in a very, very interesting climate. The whole world is watching Nigeria in this moment. There are global implications to terrorism financing. Global partners are watching terrorism and funding routes. Where the money is going, they're watching us. We even have FATF, Financial Action Task Force frameworks that guide how our money should be spent. So there are many implications for this Malami case. It's not just about the man, it's about the system and people within this system that are financing terrorism.
That's right.
So we watch very closely.
For me,
part of the allegations include the unexplained wealth that is under probe for 10 billion naira investments and also money laundering.
10 billion.
Which also happened. That's around 8.7 billion money laundering, charges.
See, for me, the way I see this thing, I take it on a different route. I think it's very shameful for for a person that was, had this amount of power, was talking about justice, a former, Attorney General. Now look at the case that we're bringing up. I think it's very, very shameful.
Well, it's still an allegation. It's not.
I know, for even this kind of, there are some allegations that we don't expect from some certain kind of people.
Sometimes you can be alleged to have done something.
I get what you're saying, but we're following through with the story. But I'm saying that if they even said that there's some evidence that they've seen, for a person that was an Attorney General before, that was all about justice, for us to even be having these conversations, it's quite shameful for me, because that position is a position that you are upright. That's a position that we should not even think that you're financing terrorists. We should not even think that you're doing money laundering. So this particular issue, I'm hoping that we're able to follow it to the end. I love the fact that, we're even investigating this, and he was, taken at some point, because it shows that nobody is above the law. And if he's really found wanting, what does it tell us? It tells us that sometimes your greed will just mess up your legacy. Because if this man is actually convicted for everything they're saying, imagine what it's going to do to his family. Everybody's going to talk about it. Oh, your father that was, doing this while he was in power. So it's actually a very sad one. But I'm hoping that we're able to follow this story to the end. Because oftentimes, Ibrahim, we have stories like this. We talk about it, but it doesn't get to see the end. At some points, we don't hear about the Malami saga again. So this is a story that I want us to go to the end of it. Let justice really be served. If he was financing terrorists, because it's such a big allegation. Do you know what it is to finance terrorists? That means you like what they're doing. You like the fact that they're killing people. You are okay with it. It's not even a joke.
Anyway, it still remains in the realm of speculations, allegations, and all of that. And then talking about family, it was also in detention or probably in court with his wife and also son. But he himself has actually denied all of these allegations, describing them as unfounded, unfair, and politically motivated. That word, politically motivated, has always been in the lexicon of litigations and all of that.
I hope you won't have to deal with another problem, which is, I'm sick, I'm unable to.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm going to collapse or anything.
Or dressing like a woman.
What seems very clear with the Malami's case, off your mic, what seems very clear with the Malami's case is this is very sad. Even for these allegations to surface, like Ria said, very, very sad. I mean, this is a man who sat, at the apex of our legal processes. In his name, in the name of federal government, he's been charging people to court for different reasons. For me, it's quite remarkable that when the UAE came out with a list of some 50-something or 80-something...
About 100 names of financiers of terrorism.
Yes, terrorism financiers. Yeah. Malami promised the whole country. He said, look, we will look through this list, and at the end of the day, we will reveal the names of those who are financing terrorism. Till he left office, that did not happen. That is one. Number two, I also remember that at a point in time when Nigerians were, crying foul, saying, look, government needs to do more on terrorism, and the EFCC was trying to track the issue of funding, how terrorism is being funded. And we realized that, look, at a point, Malami decided to take the EFCC office, to take over the position of cases from EFCC. He did that while in office. Now, with this allegation, I don't know the connection between his actions when he was in office and out of office. But these are issues which are material, which, of course, the investigation process will unravel. Absolutely. He is not guilty until found guilty by the court.
All right, then, so we're going to have to share the papers, all along. If you look at Nigerian News Director Lamide, 4 trillion naira debt, indigenous contractors lay siege to finance ministry, threaten total economic shutdown. And, part of this is saying that the government had actually made provision in the budget, 2026 budget. They've also paid some amount of money, amounting to over 1.something trillion naira. But they are saying that they are not really compensated. They've not really gotten it because some of them had died in the process. Some of them had gone bankrupt. Some of their properties had been taken over by the banks because they took loan from there. But the question there is, why would you give contract to someone? Why would you award contract to someone? And at the end of the day, you not pay them. According to what's it called? The union who are fighting for their rights.
Absolutely. Last December, the president did give a directive that the contractor should be paid, and he made allowance for that in the 2026 budget. Unfortunately, like you said, they're now saying that we've only been paid about 30 to 40% of what we are actually owed, and they're now saying they're owed about 4 trillion naira, and that's a big figure. But it's not just about the indigenous contractors protesting. I think it's a larger issue here. We have a severe liquidity crisis going on right now in the country. Money is not moving the way that it should, the way that it used to, and it's not not physical. We can't hold it in our hands, and that's a problem. But essentially, unpaid contractors means unfinished growth. It means that roads, hospitals, schools were delivered without payment. Where does that leave them? What is the incentive for them to continue in urban development and in helping structure this country? We have to sort out this liquidity crisis.
Some of them have even killed themselves out of frustration.
Let's move on to the Guardian newspaper. 1 year after, 50% telco tariff hike leaves operators happier. Consumers frustrated.
Of course, I'm frustrated. I'm very frustrated.
Let me start off with the the video consumption surges via TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube, X. And we also have data consumption reached 13.2 million terabytes in 2025, as 35% growth compared to 9.76 terabytes in 2024. So we also have that. So many. Over the weekend, I had a very strong struggle with the Lemon network provider that actually subscribed to the yellow network provider, just to use anecdote.
Off your mic.
And then I was not able to make calls, receive calls, even though they said they have shored up their services and all of that, but it is still painful.
For me, okay, I'm not going to call my network name, but I think they are thieves, and I'll tell you why. You are increasing the money, but the service is not good.
You can say you think they are unfair.
I think they are unfair, and I think that the way they take, you're just going on TikTok. I've stopped going on TikTok because I can't afford the data because it's too much.
Come on.
I'm telling you, it's that bad. It's that bad, Ibrahim. For me, it's not even about increasing it. Right. Of course, they mentioned that they're increasing it, to make things better. It's not easy for them, to maintain the whole thing is very difficult financially and all of that. But you're increasing it and you're still giving people, bad network. People want to call, you can't hear what the person is saying. I think that they need to rather work on, their transmission system for people to be able to call, different places and not struggle. And also in terms of internet as well, there's one that I have in my house. The way it finishes fast, you wonder what is really happening. Like, are they intentionally just increasing this thing? A lot of consumers now are complaining. We are the part of people complaining. I am number one in complaining that it's too sudden. A lot of people are saying it's quite sudden as well, because the way it just went so high from what we used to pay before and what we used to consume before.
Yeah, stop leaving your your phone streaming videos on end, and you go to the kitchen, go and cook, and come back, and you're still streaming without watching. So it will go down.
He's guilty as charged.
All right then. Let's move on to the leadership newspaper. Governor Yusuf visits Tinubu, may join APC on Tuesday, on Wednesday. So either today or tomorrow, but it's been long time coming, or how do they say it? So we're seeing that most of the governors are now migrating almost into the ruling All Progressives Congress at the expense of the All Democratic Congress and the like.
And other political parties. I think a lot is about what this administration is doing. Who is bold enough to do what President Tinubu has done? Let us be honest with ourselves. I mean, if you in the last election, I had Atiku, or virtually all the all the presidential candidates, Obi, Atiku, Kwakwazo, all pledged that, okay, look, we will remove subsidy. But in reality, how many of them are bold enough to say, look, this is the problem. I'm going to have to face it from day one. The governors are happy about that, even though initially there were condemnations. But when people begin to see, the dividends from it, and then opinion started changing, you can see the major construction works going on in the country without the step taken by federal government to address, the finance of the economy. Badagry to Sokoto would not have been possible. Lagos, Calabar, Coastal Highway would not have been. A lot of projects being done in the country would not have been possible. So many governors have also seen their revenue doubled. So I think it's an acknowledgement of the impact, the positive impact of the policies of this administration. And that is why you see the governors trying to move towards APC.
But what are they doing?
Well, some of them will tell you that they want to move. Some of them is for stomach infrastructure. Some of them is because that's the winning party. Let's not forget about that as well. Not all of them move for the reasons that you're saying.
If you're a governor, why would you move for stomach infrastructure?
Because they want to
Your stomach is the state house.
I know, but they want to move to the winning team. They want to align. Election is coming. That's election. Exactly. Nobody wants to stay with the team that's not winning.
Let us move on to this Nigeria. Dispute over alleged abduction of 163 Kaduna churches. Police Council insists no attack occurred, demand victims list, and then the same thing for Blueprint newspaper, where there is this forth and back. And then the police and also investigators said they went to this place, this church, which was allegedly attacked, where people were kidnapped, and they asked the people around and said nothing of such happened. Even the local government chairman said, no, nothing of such was reported. We only saw it in the news as well.
Very interesting.
I don't even know how to ask you the question.
Yeah, you don't even know where to begin. Now the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, they're insisting that 163 worshippers were abducted.
That's right.
Where did they get those figures from? The police is right to ask for the data.
And where exactly did it happen?
Exactly? The police is right to ask for the data. Give us a verifiable list of victims.
List of names.
Let's see who and who passed away. On the other hand, the Christian Association of Nigeria operates in several parts of this country in small microcosms. We don't know what they could have seen, what they could have experienced. I'm hoping that they have the data to back up what they're saying. But this lack of verifiable data or cohesive data at the very least between police and religious institutions, it further undermines the credibility we have in the security functions of this state. So it's important that the data is comprehensive and one, because this misinformation, it fuels more terrorism.
It's a strong one. It's actually a strong one.
It causes more division that we need in this moment.
On the backdrop of Donald Trump saying that designating Nigerian CPC, and then we see people playing
and America is watching.
And we know there's no smoke without fire as well, so it's very scary.
Yes, absolutely. Talking about smoke without fire, if you look at the Punch newspaper, Amnesty deal, outrage mounts as Katsina moves to release 70 bandits. And the president is told to stop release of bandits on trial. ACF, Afenifere, others slammed Katsina government over Amnesty deal. Say, we've been doing this over the years and it has never even brought any stop to kidnapping and all of that. So if we are doing prisoner swap with the terrorists that were already arrested, what does it say about our non-kinetic approach in fighting terrorism?
And Mr. Bionu, this is just what we were arguing about earlier on. I do not understand why you want to release a criminal. You know, of course, we say some people, they have, maybe they will get into the prison, they will change and all of that, but there are just some certain things that these people have done. We're talking about, terrorists, the way they kill people, the way they abduct people. I'm not saying that go ahead and kill them. Let me just put that aside. But if they will rot in prison, let them rot in prison. What is the reason why you are releasing a criminal? I still see them as a criminal. So my question is, what is the reason why they are releasing them? They've been doing it for a couple of years. What has happened? Nothing has changed. We are still seeing more deaths and more banditry, more kidnapping in Nigeria. So why don't they want to change to another style? Why do they still want to continue with that style?
We'll put that as a rhetorical question. Possibly it might be our topic tomorrow.
Yeah.
So the Daily Times, Mr. Shomi, appeal court deploys 40 justices to Lagos to clear 360 outstanding cases. The same thing as reported by the Hope newspaper. So we're having I won't say jamboree. We're having an avalanche, for the want of word, of treating cases that are already ripe for trial. So 360 of them being deployed to Lagos. What does this say about our justice administration system?
Honestly speaking, we have not invested enough in the criminal justice system. When you talk about the criminal justice system, you're talking about the judiciary, the courts, the police, including the DSS, because they have investigative role. You are talking about the correctional services because they are part of the system. You are talking about forensic services because of them crimes driven by substance use or mental illness. So it's quite a lot. We have not invested enough over the years. How many prisons have we built, new prisons have we built since when crimes kept going up? Then in particularly, in respect to this case, I spoke to a judge or two judges over the New Year period.
That's right.
And one of them told me that, look, he handles up to more than 15, 17 cases a day. And then that's in Lagos, in Federal High Court. So if you're moving more cases to Lagos, then Lagos courts would get congested. It will also create another problem.
It's a sad. All right, then, that's about it for the newspapers up for review. Understand that the time is actually fast spent. So much to chew on, so much to talk about. But we believe that we've been able to do justice, to all of the papers. Not part of the 360 cases anyway. Still to come on TVC News, TVC Breakfast, actually. A power struggle is unfolding in Oyo as the Alaafin considers legal action over the leadership of the Oyo Council, raising questions about authority, tradition, and governance within the ancient kingdom. Join us after the break. We'll be right back.